Hello, friends. It's me, Mr. Prof, coming to you again from sunny Santa Monica, California. I'm wearing my pandemic teacher shirt, which is purple. My wife doesn't like this shirt. She says it makes me look like a grape. I don't know. What do you think? Is it working for me? I don't know. Send me a message. Let me know if you like the shirt or not. So today, I want to talk to you for a quick moment about cars. Let me get my screen shared. There we go. Clickety click, clickety clack. And there is a car you see right there. And the interesting thing about cars look like they're one thing, right? It's a car. But if you look really close, a car is actually a bunch of different parts that are all put together into one thing. And cars actually have a lot of different parts. I'm just looking around. Let's see what I can see over here. I'm not an expert, but these are probably the seats. This is part of the brakes. That's part of the brakes. This is the exhaust system, different engine parts, pipes, wires. There's the steering wheel. There's the bumper. That's the back seat. So cars are made up of a bunch of different parts. You know what else is made up of a bunch of different parts? Plants. This is a small plant, like a flower. And if we look at it, we can see all the different parts, or all the big parts. There actually are some smaller parts that this diagram doesn't show us, but this gives us enough of the idea. Some parts of a plant you probably recognize. Stuff like this right here. This is the flower, right? Most plants have flowers, although some of them can be quite small and only appear part of the time. Then we also have the leaves, right? Leaves are very important for plants. We talked about that's how the plant breathes, right? It breathes through little holes in its leaves. It also uses the leaves to collect sunlight and turns the sunlight into food. The middle part of the plant, kind of the skeleton of the plant, is this part right here. That's called the stem. And then sometimes the stem will have little branches off of it. The bits underground right here are called the roots. And usually we can't see the roots of a plant. They're underground. And the roots are very important because that's how the plant sucks up water that it needs. It takes water and some other important things out of the ground that they're in. And that's how they stay alive. So there are just some of the parts of a plant. Trees also have different parts, which are kind of similar in some ways. Trees have leaves, usually. The middle part of the tree is called the trunk. That, again, is kind of like the skeleton of the tree, the trunk of the tree. Sometimes the trunk is covered in this stuff called bark, which is a sort of a rough material around the tree that protects it. Off the trunk, you will have different branches shooting off the trunk. Sometimes you can climb a tree if it's big enough by its branches. And then on the end of the branches is where you have the leaves. Oh, little tiny branches are called twigs. So sometimes you'll have the main branch, and then off the main branch, you'll have a couple tiny little twigs. And then underground, just like in the flower, you have the roots, which do exactly the same thing that tiny plant roots do. So there you go. Those are all the different parts of the tree. And we talked about whether a tree is alive or not. And we looked at our list of things that tell us if something is alive. We know that plants need food and water, right? We just talked about that. They need sunlight and they need water. They do breathe through their leaves. They do grow. Do they move? Yeah, that was kind of the tricky one. Yes, they kind of do move. Oops, I'm sorry. First of all, they move when they're growing. And they move when they can turn towards the sunlight. So here is what you're going to do today, friends. Boop, 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 boop. Here is what your assignment is going to be today. If you have your ELA workbook, and I know some of you guys do, then I believe on page 11 of your workbook, is this thing right here. It says, is a tree living? Note catcher. You're going to use this, again, to prove that a tree is alive or not alive. You've got a list of little checklists. Does it need food? Yes or no. Does it need water? Yes or no. Does it need air? Yes or no. Can it move or grow? Yes or no. And you're going to draw a little picture to go with that to show why. Now, if you don't have your workbook, then your assignment is to, on a piece of paper or your whiteboard, write 2 reasons why you know a tree is alive, and then maybe draw a little picture to go with that. And then, of course, you're going to take a picture of your work. No matter what you do, you're always going to take a picture of your work and send it to me or Miss Dano. If you did this during class, then you're done. If you haven't, you got some work to do, my friend. Okay, so there you go. That's your assignment for today. We're talking about trees. Get to it. Prof out.